Metroid Zero Mission. I cannot say enough good things about this game. It is such an incredible gem from the GBA. It is my favorite Metroid game in the entire franchise. Not to mention it was also my very first Metroid game I ever played as a kid. So this is my childhood copy that I'm booting up right now. And this is an incredible Metroid game. If you've never played a Metroid game, I suggest anyone starts with this one because it is just the best handling Metroid game ever. And it's not too terribly long. It's actually one of the shorter games in the entire series, but it's definitely worth a play. It is one of the best games on the Game Boy Advance. You will not be disappointed. Every time I hear this opening theme, it just sends shivers down my spine. It is so nostalgic. I absolutely love this opening title screen theme. It is amazing. Not to mention this title screen in general just brings so much nostalgic feelings back. So anyways, to get into the gameplay here, I decided to just go on a new save file as I had my two other save files here just to get some good gameplay for this video. This is one of the best handling Metroid games ever. Like, Samus handles like an absolute dream in this game. If you've played any of the other Metroid games, then like you might notice that Samus is kind of floaty in some of the older games. And what I mean by that is, like, in the NES original Metroid and also in Metroid Return of Samus on the Game Boy original, she's very, very, like, when you jump, she just floats in the air for so long, and it's very, very hard to land on platforms at sometimes. And even in Super Metroid, I found she was quite floaty in that game, but Super Metroid, one of the best in the series as well. Definitely play that if you haven't already. So this game, she handles fantastic. Just, as you can see in this gameplay, she's not super floaty. She jumps and handles perfectly. Not to mention, they also added in this game, I believe, not Metroid Fusion. I think this was the first game where they added in the grabbing onto ledges mechanic. So that really, really helps with her handling as well. Not to mention, you also have the multi-directional aiming, which was also awesome. Definitely a good addition into this game. And the graphics hold up today. They look fantastic. Just that 16-bit artwork on the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance, I absolutely love. So now to get into a bit of the story of this game. It is not a direct, complete copy of the original Metroid. They actually added in a episode at the end of the main story in this game where you go to Chozodia, where you get to learn a bit of the backstory about Samus and the Chozos. It was a very, very cool little episode they added in. Without that end to this game, I mean, it would be even shorter. Like, it is a game that you can beat in probably less than 2 hours if you know how to get to where everything is and how to get through all the boss fights and everything. It is a very short game that you can sit down and beat in an afternoon if you're bored. So it's definitely quick in that aspect. But the Chozodia episode that they added in at the end of this game was very, very cool, where you got to play as Samus in her Zero suit, which you might know from Super Smash Brothers if you played those games. So it's very, very cool that this was, I believe, the game that originated in, and this was kind of the game where they created her Barbie doll kind of look, which, I don't know, some people aren't a fan of it, some people are. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I mean, it's what the route they decided to go, and they've kept it consistent ever since. So Samus's design in this game was the Barbie doll look, and I think this is the first game where they introduced that look, because in the older games, I know I think she had brown hair, and she was looking a little bit different if you got the good ending or the special ending for collecting all the items and everything in the older games. You can look up footage of that on YouTube. I'm sure you'll be able to find that. But I think especially, at least in the very first Metroid game on the NES, she was a brunette when you got the good ending for collecting all the items in that game. So now a bit about the atmosphere. As you're probably seeing, I mean, I absolutely love the look of this game. It looks fantastic. They did a great job with the whole artwork and everything of the game and just how it looks and feels. I'll show a little bit of footage later on in this video from one of my completed save files where I beat the game and show you guys what it looks like on Chozodia at the very end of the game. But yeah, no, this game just looks amazing, and it definitely holds up today. So once you've beaten the game one time on one save file, then you will unlock the original Metroid. So I'm showing some footage from this now. And so it's definitely more of a novelty to play the original Metroid. But yeah, I thought I better show you guys some footage of just about everything that there is in this game. So that's why I decided to just hop on the original Metroid and show you guys a little bit of gameplay from that as well. But definitely, if you're going to play through the whole Metroid timeline, I would go Zero Mission, and then I would go Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS instead of Metroid Return of Samus on the Game Boy. And then Super Metroid is an absolute just gold gem of its own. It is such a fantastic game, and you can play it on the Super Nintendo Virtual Console if you have Nintendo Switch Online. So it's very, very easy to play. And there's also save states as well if it's too difficult. So anyways, now here's where I got some gameplay of one of my completed files on Chozodia, as you'll see. So this is a completed game on the Metroid games. Once you've beaten the game, then it reverts back to your last save. So in this case, I'm still at my last save just before taking on that Mecha Metal Ridley, Machine Ridley, I don't know what in the world its name is, but at the end of Metroid Zero Mission, you take on a steel form of Ridley, a robot form of Ridley, if you will. So this was just showing a little bit of the map there, and then I got right into it. So this is the Chozodia final episode that wasn't in the original NES Metroid. It was only added into Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. So as you can see, even on Chozodia, this is just a super nice looking game. It looks incredible. It's just such a great game. I can't even say enough good things about it. It's my favorite Metroid game in the series, and everything about it just handles and looks so amazing. But I absolutely love Metroid for many reasons. I think it's a great game in the fact that every single Metroid, I mean, you start off as just this not so powerful warrior Samus Aran, right? Like you always start off with just your dinky little pea shooter of a gun, and then you have to find all these upgrades, and you turn into a super soldier by the end with all these different upgrades and missiles and power-ups and everything. And I just think it's a super cool concept that has lasted even into Metroid Dread and into the Prime games. It's just such an incredible concept, and it just works. These games are all amazing. And if you haven't played any of the Metroid games, I highly recommend you try one. Definitely this one's one of the best in the series. So anyways, here's that robot Ridley that I was talking about. So this is the final boss in the entire game, and I just decided to hop into it and get a little bit of footage. Of course, it's a little bit harder to play when I'm trying to record too, but my whole gameplay hasn't been the best just because it is hard to record and play at the same time, but I thought I better get some footage for you guys of everything that I could. So anyways, now I'll hop into the gallery. So, like every Metroid game ever since the beginning, depending on how well you do throughout the entire game, whether you are able to beat it in under a certain amount of time, or collect all the items, or both collect all the items and beat it in a certain amount of time, then you will get special gallery images. And in the very first Metroid game, you would just basically get to see Samus without her power suit on. So basically, there's multiple different endings. You can look up the gallery images if you're at all interested. I've only got 2 images because I've only played through this game and obviously beaten it good enough to get 2 different images, but I know that there's some pretty cool ones you can unlock for beating it in under 2 hours on hard mode, and also collecting all the items as well. There's lots of different ways to play, and they definitely have encouraged the speedrunners over the years. So now this is just the gallery images you would get if you would link your game to Metroid Fusion, which I have done in the past. So I still have all the Metroid Fusion gallery art images on Metroid Zero Mission. So it's just, you would get all these images if you linked if you had a link cable and then you linked Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission on 2 different Game Boy consoles, then you could get all these special ones. So anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and for the last bit of this video, I'll just let the final Metroid Fusion special gallery images play. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one.